Hey, Inspired Tribe, how's it going? It's John Nolan here. Welcome to another Inspired Conversation. We're so excited to have Gale, founder and CEO of Food Forest Abundance, with us again today. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, brother, so much for being here.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing. I listen and have been listening to your content for a long time, and it is really inspired. When I get done listening to you, I feel better than I did when I started listening to you. And that's important for life, isn't it?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's kind of the intention that we put out. Jim, we love having you back because one of our big intentions, as you know, is to help people create absolute independence in their lives, spiritually, physically, mentally, in all areas. And you represent that also in all areas. You have started something, and we talked about it in our first conversation. We'll put the link up here. You started a company, but it's truly a movement. It's a transformative movement, Food Forest Abundance. And today, you're not just joining us from your office. Today, you're joining us from an actual food forest. So tell us a little bit about what this is all about.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. So right next to me is the food forest landscape design that we have created for Galt's Landing. Now, Galt's Landing is named after John Galt, the main character in Atlas Shrugged, right? It's about the power of the individual, right? Instead of the governmente or the collective, it's the individuals in our world who inspire the most change. So we named the community after John Galt, and we sold out here about 2 months ago. We have 10 home sites on 52 acres on a private 430-acre lake, which I can show you here in a second. And we've got the only dock on this lake, and there's a runway to the east coast of us. It's almost a mile-long paved runway. And what I envisioned for this property, in fact, a little backstory. When I first, Brian and I met about 10 years ago. He came to live with me in Costa Rica before the 2012 thing that we are all kind of, aware of the possibilities of. And you've done a show on that lately, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. And so we met there. We're talking about what's going on in the world. And then I moved away from Costa Rica because the governmente there is extreme. Unfortunately, the crime is going up radically and all these things are happening. So I moved to Florida with my family. And when we wanted to find a property that had a lake and a runway and some land kind of private, and the realtors said, there's nothing that exists like that. They said, seriously, there's nothing within an hour of the Orlando airport that exists. It's impossible. And so we said, okay, well, we'll see, right? I get a call 2 weeks later from a guy. He said, Jim, I can't believe it, but we found a 52-acre piece of property that has a runway and a private lake. I said, great. So we bought it. And the intention from the start was to use this property to demonstrate freedom, because people have the illusion, which is a programmed illusion, a program that living off the grid is living in a cabin in the woods with candles, right? Which is a lie, my friends. The infrastructure and the cost of the infrastructure in our world is meant to centralize power. Figuratively and literally in every way, centralized power is the problem. And in permaculture, we like turning the problem into the solution. So if the problem is centralized power, then the solution is decentralized power. So I'm sitting here in our temporary studio, which is just a camper now. And we've got it all run by solar panels outside, which I'll show you in a second. And the first building we're building is a studio, a very fancy, like a nice studio home that can demonstrate freedom every day. And we're planting thousands and thousands of fruit trees and edibles all over the property.
Man, that's absolutely amazing. I love the vision. I told you, I love the enthusiasm, the energy that it has. Jim, one thing that we talk about, and we need to talk about it every now and then, we live in a time of unprecedented crisis. Yes, it's man-made, it's produced on purpose, but nonetheless, billions of people are affected by it. And I have always believed there's two ways to approach a crisis. For some, it is to go small, to go within, to kind of duck and try to sit it out. Our approach has always been to expand in a time of crisis. So basically, if you want to look at it from a business standpoint, that's where you invest and expand. That's where you go big or go home. It's, you know, it's not that it's easy, but it's been the only way out and growth and thriving for us. So isn't this the best possible time? And I want to emphasize something. You don't have to have a 52-acre property, not at all. But
absolutely true.
Isn't this the best possible time right now, not in a week, not in a month, not in a year, but now to begin this independence journey? And what would you say is the first step while you show us all of this and while you're inviting us into your world? What's the first step people can take right now?
Well, right now is take a few deep breaths and feel the spirit come into your body, right? Everything starts with the gap in between thoughts. That's where spirit lies. That's where the magic lies. And that's where the ideas are. They're in the gap between the thoughts. And then when you get the idea by holding an intention of freedom, of joy, of love, of community, and all of these wonderful things, then the ideas will start coming from some epic place, right? You could call it God or source. And so the start is relax and start enjoying your life. Right. Then the next step is follow the inspired actions, follow the wisdom that comes from this amazing place. And what I have done by doing that for about 15, 20 years and really longer is I have seen through my real eyes that the solutions are embarrassingly simple. And if you have 100 feet in your backyard, you can have a fruit tree guild or a garden that can literally produce you a salad a day, at least in the summertime, right? Here in Florida, we can have a salad a day almost every year on a small footprint, right? And I'm not talking just any salad like the romaine you buy at the store. That's not a salad. When you mix longevity spinach and Okinawa spinach and sweet potato leaves and moringa leaves and all of these other incredibly nutrient dense plants, you can have a salad that will nourish you. It's like eating sunlight.
It is literally eating sunlight. That's what we want from salad, is the energy from the sun. Jim, so we also have you're basically now talking to us from the beautiful Central Florida climate, which is, it's amazing all year round. It never gets really cold. It does get quite hot in the summer, but for growing food, it's amazing. We've got a lot of viewers in more northern territories, Michigan, or even across the border up in Canada. Is it possible to have a permaculture food forest in your yard in Michigan, in Saskatchewan, in those areas?
Well, I'll share a story with you. My buddy Chad Johnson lives near the tip of Lake Superior in northern Minnesota. He started his food forest about 5 years ago, and he's got over 300 varieties of edible and medicinal plants growing in his food forest on a few acres. And here's the part that when I saw this and understood this truth, it blew my mind. He estimates by going in the woods around his property that hundreds of thousands of plants, edibles, berries, and all of the different things that he planted there have been planted by the wind and the rain and the birds and the animals because of his food forest. So the system comes in, that these elements and animals come in, and then they bring the seeds out. So what does that mean? That means a food forest or the Garden of Eden ideal is actually expansive by its very nature. Right? And then when you think about that, what is the nature of it? It's the God nature. It's the nature of source of abundance to the max, right? So this system that we're living in has been systematically and strategically poisoned for a long, long time. The poison starts in our minds with the programming and the fear and the shame and all of these things. And then that translates into the physical reality that we hold. So when we step back and start taking action to literally build this ideal of the Garden of Eden, then it's the most logical step for humanity. In fact, Victor Hugo said there's one thing stronger than all of the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. My favorite quote of all time: the idea whose time has come implies that the idea already exists. And it not only exists, but everybody can describe the Garden of Eden in glorious detail. The scam, the program, is that you believe it's not possible when it's absolutely logical.
So the truth is that we are not necessarily really creating a new future. We're actually returning to the originally intended reality for us that we've already lived in a long time ago. We're rediscovering this. Now, while you are showing us all of this and talking about this, Jim, what is something, and I will go from two perspectives here, because that's kind of, what we receive this feedback is, there are the homeowners today that have, a regular sized yard, or they have maybe more acreage. But then there's also the apartment, apartment living, city living. How do these people in their own ways get started on their own food forest and food independence? Because this is important. If you follow the permaculture strategies of nature, which are the strategies of nature, then you can actually truly become food independent, right?
Yes. Not only food independent, but with such abundance. And by the way, folks, we're in a time where the food supply chain is in big trouble. And most of you, everybody listening to this show knows that. And we can see it in the stores. So then if that's the problem, what's the most logical thing? Is to grow food. And the BS, the belief systems, the bad science, and the bullshit that we believe about growing food is the biggest scam. And I'll give you an example. Imagine your favorite forest. Have you ever walked in a forest, right? Don't you feel good when you're walking in a forest? Who manages that forest, right? You don't. Nobody does. Source, God manages that forest. So when we design a permaculture system using these techniques that are not hypothetical, they've been proven all over the world in every zone in the world, then we can create abundance that is literally lasting. In fact, the Amazon rainforest was a designed food forest 5,000 years ago. Look that up. It's absolutely amazing when you can see the actual results of these designs over time. And our target market is the suburban backyard. It's zone 1 in our world, in our society. And that's where we have, just in the United States alone, 40 million acres of lawn. When we turn half of that into edible regenerative landscapes, whether that be the lawn or your deck in your apartment, or a little area in your kitchen, like taking a countertop and growing microgreens. When we simply use these resources wisely, we reverse mass extinction and deforestation and literally all of the forms of tyranny.
A little known truth, because it's such a timely current topic, is that this understanding this knowledge and wisdom about growing your own food, doing it in the right way, and using what we have. We don't need to cut down hundreds and thousands and millions of acres of trees. As a matter of fact, we have so much lawn space. But a country where this is really practiced is actually Russia. They have been focusing on this, on their own organic, natural food production in small scale. The dachniks, they have their dachas where they grow, and it's been a culture for a very long time. As I said, it's not something we're creating; it's something we're rediscovering. If you will, Jim, can you show us around a little bit? I'm curious to see what.
I can. I'm unplugging my phone, and we're gonna walk outside, and I'm gonna take you in a couple areas. Now, I hope there's not a glitch as I unconnect to this internet at the camper. So we've got right here, we've got several food forests here. This one is a blank canvas, right? This is the area where we had about 10 acres built up. And then now we're taking this and we're designing it. In fact, the design is the most important part, because nature has a way that it functions. So when you design a yard, really, we're designing freedom into the fabric of our society. And soil is key, right? So this soil here, where you can see the light sand, that's inert. It's not full of life. So one of the first things we did is we simply laid down mulch. Now, it sounds so simple, but these big piles of mulch here, that is absolutely key, because in a successful natural system, or in a jungle or a forest, you don't see exposed earth. And that's where most people make mistakes when they're planting, is they leave exposed earth, right? And that's the first thing you do. If you want to plant on your own, first thing is lay down a bunch of mulch and then start building the soil, adding the life elements to the soil. So we've got our chicken coops here. We're actually building a new chicken coop, a bigger one right here, right now, which I'm really excited about. Chickens, by the way, are one of the most incredible resources. They have many different functions. They lay eggs, they can provide meat, they can provide protection, they can provide heat. If you have a greenhouse and you want to keep it warm during the winter, put some chickens in there.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that connection.
Yeah. So this is one of our starter nurseries to propagate. Now, again, my friends, the demand for food and fruit trees and these things is going through the roof. There are some places that you cannot buy fruit trees right now.
I know. We ran into this. We've planted more, and Kristin has been on the love hunt for, quality fruit trees, and it's been very, very difficult. This whole food supply chain crisis that we're in, it shows everywhere because people are looking into this, are preparing. So this is just another sign of this.
It sure is. Not sure if you can see my solar panels over there, but we're working with a company that sends completely off-grid solar packages. I actually love the company so much, I bought 3 of their packages, and now Food Forest Abundance is representing them because they have a very quality team and system. So here's a few bananas, and now we'll walk over to where we started about 8 months ago. And my friends, with less than an hour effort a week, we have about 75% of the food that we're growing is going back into the ground right now because we're not eating it fast enough. But that's okay, because that's what builds soil.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that cool? Now, here is a pond. This is a 6-acre pond, and there's probably over 1 million ponds in Florida. And ponds are one of the most incredible resources. You can get about 4 times more protein per acre of water if you create a living system than you can on land. And right now, what they're doing is they're spraying poisons in these ponds. They're poisoning for mosquitoes and plants. The number one problem in our world is the poisons. So we use natural systems instead of poisonous systems.
Well, I think we have to remember that nature has a very self-regulatory mechanism, and the more we mess with it, the more we need to mess with it to maintain the sick environment we have created. So I think that is exactly the strategy, that we move back to understanding how nature does it, because nature regulates itself perfectly.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's God's way. This idea that we can add poisons into our bodies, it's like it takes the faith out of our society. And I am not a religious man. Religion means to rebind. I'm a spiritual person. We all are. We might not know that, but this idea that somebody who, for profit, can create a chemical that is going to do better than God's chemicals, than nature's chemicals, that's another big scam that's destroying a lot of people right now.
So, Jim and Inspire Tribe, I wanted to let you know that Jim's vision and the vision of Food Forest Abundance is all inclusive. It includes everyone, and they have a strategy, really, as Jim said, for the suburban areas, a strategy for the urban areas, a strategy to really include everyone in the journey. But if you want to get started today and you say, hey, I really want to get started on my food forest garden design, on my journey, then Jim and Food Forest Abundance were kind enough to give our viewers a discount. So if you use the coupon code INSPIRED and click on a link in the description, then you can get started on your journey, save some money on the way. And we would honestly really encourage you to get started today. And Jim, what's going to happen if someone clicks the link and they get started? What's going to happen next?
The next thing is one of our designers will give you a call and then have a conversation with you about what are your goals and how much time do you want to spend in your food forest? what we suggest right now, especially, is that everybody plant a combination of annuals and perennials. Mm-hmm. Now, all of these plants here, these are perennials, which means that you plant them once and you don't have to plant them again. They just continue to produce for a long, long time. Annuals, like tomatoes and cucumbers, you plant them once, you harvest, and then you plant them again with the new seed. So we'll find out what your goals and vision are, and then we'll design your landscape, creating communities of plants or guilds that actually support each other. And that's really important. Like this plant right here is called the toilet paper plant, Cuban oregano. We might need that one. and here's papaya. Look at the papaya coming in.
Oh, it's cool? Beautiful.
Isn't that? Yeah. And this is some of my favorites. These are nasturtium flowers. Look at that. And they're edible. They're so good. And here's the butterflies playing around. Look at the butterflies. Isn't that awesome?
Absolutely beautiful.
This is Moringa, the tree of life, the vitamin tree, also known as the drumstick tree. More vitamin C than oranges, more potassium than bananas, more calcium than milk, more iron than spinach. It's incredible. It's just everywhere.
What if someone says, hey, I don't have a green thumb, I'm not a gardener, can I still have a food forest? Can I still make this happen? What's your answer to that?
We've done nothing. We put this in the ground properly. We built up the soil, we put mulch on top, and then we planted the plants that are right for this zone. And that's very important. Look at the monarchs. What zone are you in? Isn't that cool? So we planted the right plants. And then since then, at the beginning, we watered it about, if it didn't rain, we would water it twice a week. Now it's been rainy, and there's literally, the only thing we've done is we've mowed the pathway between, like here we've mowed it, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. And it's just providing food for us. Now, some zones are going to need a little more effort, especially in times of drought.
So can people, if people say, I need some assistance in the beginning, after the design is done, they get there, and this is an extensive design. I've seen this. This is really, you'll get a whole study, basically, what's working for you. Can people get assistance in actually putting the food forest in and actually getting started?
Yes. In fact, our network of cooperatives, we're probably the fastest growing cooperative in the world. We started 12 months ago on the highway with Gale, and now we're serving almost 20 countries and almost every U.S. state, designing and installing these food forests.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. And people have also reached out to us and said, hey, I'm so inspired by this vision. I don't just want my own food forest. I want to help spread the word. I want to help bring this to people. How can people help you, Jim, in bringing this out to the world?
Well, we have an abundance ambassador community, and we launched 90 days ago. We have 500 abundance ambassadors, including several Emmy Award winners. Several billionaires have reached out, and we are going to be turning billions of dollars of fiat into compost, then into food over the coming years. This is the transition that changes everything when we start using these resources and creating the Garden of Eden.
So we're going into real abundance. We're creating real abundance again. Inspired Tribe, one more time. If you say, I want to get started today, not tomorrow, click the link in the description, use coupon code INSPIRED, save some money while you're at it, but you can also become an ambassador and help Jim and Food Forest Abundance to spread the word. Listen, this is the easiest, fastest, and most effective way that we can affect true change, because when people are food independent, that's the number one need, is food and water for people. If they can create independence around that, the life becomes such a different experience, right, Jim?
It's amazing. I mean, look at these gifts right here from nature. Isn't that amazing?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Every time I'm here, I'm just so happy. I'm walking through paradise. Look at the pineapples and look at the peaches. Isn't that cool?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So Jim,
Yeah.
what's the rest of your day going to look like?
I'm just going to hang out here and watch the animals, and just really meditate and be here. And maybe I'll eat some mulberries.
Oh, beautiful.
I can't wait to show you and Kristin around, my friend.
We're Inspired Tribe. Jim has invited us to come down there. As you know, we're going to have the Yada retreat, which is now sold out and booked out, but there's another one coming up in fall. But we're going to be there and hug Jim, meditate together, and spend some time in this beautiful, beautiful space. Thank you, Jim, for the invitation. And Jim, I want to give you the floor. What's the message today? What's really important right now? What's happening in Food Forest Abundance? What do you want our viewers, the Inspired Tribe, to know?
I want to inspire you to reach out and join us in any way that feels good to you, because we are having fun with this. I am very aware of the problems. I study the problems every day for 8 to 12 hours a day for years. And it sucked. When I started focusing on the solution, that's when life started becoming awesome again. And so I invite you to just be awesome with us. Let's have fun. And by the way, this is what we talked about today, is the tip of the iceberg. We're coming to the world with a podcast in about, well, on the 19th, we're launching it on Earth Day, which lays out the complete strategy to take freedom and to take this movement to the next level. I see an amazing future for humanity. It's up to us to act and to bring about this future. So join us.
100%. We second that and encourage that. Jim, also, other than the Food Forest Abundance official website, what's a good way for people to follow you guys, to get in touch with you? Where are you on in the social media world?
So we are now going everywhere. And also, I love emails. I love meeting amazing people. You can email me directly, jim@foodforestabundance.com. Make sure you let us know where you heard of us, because we are about regenerative capitalism, which is the voluntary exchange of value. So I want to make sure that that John and Kristin get recognized for their incredible contribution to everything good that they're all about and that we're all about.
Thank you, Jim. And of course, vice versa. And this is why we're so excited about having created this partnership, because it's really about introducing this wonderful, transformative movement to the world. So Jim, as you know, we've already talked about this. This is an ongoing conversation. Whenever you feel like it, whenever you want to share something and invite us into your world, look at this, Inspired Tribe. Just look at how beautiful and lush green and thriving this is. And this could be you, and this could be your backyard. This could be your world. You can create this. So Jim, an open invitation as always on the Inspired channel. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you to your beautiful space. Enjoy your day. And thank you for allowing us to peek into your world a little bit.
Love you guys. Love you all. Thank you so much, and have an awesome day.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Inspired Tribe. If you're as inspired as I am, I'm just going to go outside. It's raining here, but I don't care. I'm going to go into nature now. So Tribe, thank you for tuning in. We love you all. And check out Food Forest Abundance and use coupon code INSPIRED if you feel inspired to get started on your journey today. We love you all. Be blessed, be abundant, be independent.